Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 2-3 of May-June 2021 for the IGCSE paper. Now, with that being said, obviously, let's move on to questions number 1. So, here we do not use a calculator. So what it means is that we actually can use, obviously, because no one is watching you. But the main idea behind this is to show every step of your work. How can you simplify this fraction? So usually, when we have a fraction in this way, we have 4 minus root of 5 divided by 7 minus 3 root of 5. We understand that we have to rationalize this fraction. So how do we do this? We have 4 minus root of 5. Here we have 7 minus 3 root of 5. So we have to multiply the denominator as well as the numerator by its conjugate of this one. That will be 7 plus 3 root 5, 7 plus 3 root 5. This is how you rationalize a fraction in this way. Now simplify. This time this will be what? So first thing first, 4 times this will be 28 plus 4 times 3 will be 12 root 5. And then minus root 5 times this will become minus 7 root 5. And then we have minus 3 times 5. Okay, and this divide by this. Now, we have to observe, what is this exactly? How can we simplify this exactly? So we have seen this before. When we have a minus b times a plus b. So we know that it is the same thing as a square minus b square. So same way here, this is my a minus b times my a plus b. That will give me a square minus b square. Hence, that will be 7 square will be 49 minus 3 root 5 square will be 9 times 5, right? Because 3 square is 9, root of 5 is 5. Now we can simplify one by one, so let's see what happens. 28 minus 15, so always you can just use your calculator because that's okay, you know, it is not a big deal. You just have to show your work. That will be 13. And here we have 12 minus 7. That will be plus 5 root 5. Now all this divided by, we have 49 minus 9 times 5. That will be 4. Okay, so your answer will be 13 over 4 plus 5 over 4 root of 5. And that will be your question for number 1. So it is very simple. We just have to know how to rationalize this fraction. Step by step we simplify. And finally, we will find your answer for the question. Okay, now we can move on to question number 2. So here we have what? We have y is equal to this equation. We have to find the value of x when y equal to 30. So we just have to replace the value of y by 30 here and solve for the value of x. So step by step. So here we have 30, and that will be 2 times 7 power 2x minus 3 times 7 x plus 1 plus 19. So now we have to simplify this equation, obviously. So something we do have to know here is how do we simplify this one? By the laws of indices. So we have to understand 7 x plus 1 is the same thing as 7 power x times 7 power 1, which is 7 times 7 power x. Now same thing here, you will become 2 times 7. Now we can rewrite this as power x square. It's the same thing, but we can just rewrite this as this. Now minus 3. Now this we have seen, he became this one. So that will be times 7 power x. And plus 19, obviously. Now we can simplify. 2 7x square minus 3 times 7 is 21. 7x plus 19, that will be 30. So now we can simplify if you want to, because it might be confusing for some of you guys. So let's use substitution. For example, I can say let u equal to 7 power x. So now it will be much simpler for you guys. That will become 30. That will be 2. Now 7 power x is u. That will be u square minus 21, this is u plus 19. Now let's rearrange. Send everything to one side. You will have 2u squared minus 21u plus 19 minus 30, right? That will be 0. Now simplify. 2u squared minus 21u. So 19 minus 30 will be minus 11 is 0. So now we can solve by using factorization, or you can use your formula because this one is a quadratic equation. So let's use factorization, right? Because I prefer to use that way, but you can always use a formula, right? That will be 2u times u. 11 is 11 times 1. Now to get minus 21, we have to have 2 times minus 11. That will be minus 22. Plus 1, you will have minus 21. So u will become minus 1 over 2, and u will become the value of 11. But now obviously we're not trying to find the value of u, we're trying to find the value of x. Replace back u. U is equal to 7 power x, that will be minus half, and 7 power x, that is 11. Now we have to understand that it cannot be negative, obviously. Something have to be always positive, so this will be invalid. Now for this one we have to find the value of x, so let's find out. So there's a way we can do this, is we can use logarithms. For example, if you take log on both sides, for example, right, you will have log of 11. Now what else? We can send this over here. That will be x, that will be log of 11 divided by log of 7. So log of 11 divided by log of 7, that will be 1.23 correct to 3SF. And that will be the value of x, so only one value, the value of x will be 1.23. And that will be your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So we have to write down this in the form of this, where a and b are constants. So the idea here is we just have to simplify this and then find the values of a, b, and c. So step by step, right? So here we have x is x. Here we have 27. But here we have power 5 over 3. But now we understand that 27 is what? It is also 3 power 3, right? Let's check. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Right, so we can write 3 power 3. Now you take this power, we can just multiply by 5 over 3. Now we have x here, x and power 5 over 3. Here we have y, power 3, times 5 over 3. As you can see, step by step, we're trying to simplify this to help us to find the answer. Now, we can first simplify the top if you want to, one by one. So here we have x power 1 plus x 5 over 3. So 1 plus 5 over 3, that will be 2 over 3. Now we can simplify. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 over 3. That will be x 8 over 3. Multiply by, here we have 3 power 3 times this and this will cancel out. So you have 3 power 5. Right. And this one, this and this will cancel out. You have y power 5. Now this is the simplified, the power simplified for the numerator. Now let's simplify the powers for the denominator. So pretty easy. Now we have to understand, what is this symbol represent? It represents power of 1 over 4. We have to understand that, right? So here we have 81. Now what is 81? Let's see. 81 is 3 power 4. Let's check. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, that will be 81. So we can write, this will become 81, which is 3 power 4 times y power 5. Now we have bracket power 1 over 4. As we have seen, this is this. Now simplify. This and this will cancel out. You will have 3 power 1 times y, that will become 5 over 4. Now replace these two back in the fraction. Let's see what happens, right? Step by step. On top you will have x 8 over 3. Here we have 3, 5, and y power 5 divided by 3 and y this. Now x will be same thing because we don't have nothing below, which is x. That will be x 8 over 3. Here we have power 1, so 5 root 5. So 5 power 5 divided by 3, that should be 3, sorry, 3 power 5, my bad, 3 power 4. That will become this, and this will become power 5 minus this. Let's see, 5 minus 5 over 4, that should be 3 over 4, that should be what? 3 times 4 is 12 plus 3, should be 15 over 4. So that'll be y 15 over 4. So the main idea here is that when we have for example, for the laws of indices, when you have x power a over x power b, we have to understand we can combine these two together. That will be x a, because we have divide, it will be minus b. So same idea, y power 5 divide will be minus this one, you will have this. So finally, your answer will be 3 power 4 times x 8 over 3 times y 15 over 4. And these are the values of a, b, and c as shown in the question. Now let's move on to part b. So here we have to find the value of a such that this is this. So let's see how can we find the value of a. So there's many ways of doing this question. Let's find out step by step what can we do. So one thing we can do here is we can send this one over here. The power, right, that will be log a, and that will become 8 power 2. That will be 3 over 2. Now, we understand to find the, so this is equal to what? 8 power 2 will be the same thing as, we can eliminate this one by, that will be a 3 over 2. That makes sense. Hopefully it does. For example, when we have log base of a and b equal to c. To find the value of b, we have to send this here. That will be a power c. So same idea here. To find the value of this, we send this here. That will be this. Now we can simplify, obviously. Let's see what happens. So to cancel out this power, we have to apply power of 2 over 3 on both sides. Right? If that makes sense, because here this will go away, 2 will cancel out with this, and this will cancel out with this. So eventually we'll have a over here, and that will be 8 power 2 over 3. So let's see, what do you have? A, that will be 8 power 2 over 3. That will be 16 as your answer. Okay, that will be one of the ways of solving this question for the value of a. That will be 16. Again, the main concept is this one. To find the value of b here, we can send a here. That will become this. So to find the value of this one, which we know already, but we understand that, we can send a here, then we can eliminate the log. You will have this as this. And then we can solve one by one to find this as your answer. Now for part 2, we have to write this as a single log to the base of a. So to do this question, we have to understand that we can change almost any log to any base we want to. For example, let's say we have log to the base of z and the value of, let's choose t. So I want to change this to a base of, let's say, a. How would you do that? So we have to understand. It's the same thing as saying log to the base of, this is equal to base of a, value of t, over log base of a, value of z. So that is how you can change the whole thing to a log base of a different a. So same idea here. Let's change that. Right here we have log base of a squared and then 3a. So base of a, as you can see, we can have log base of a, that will be 3a, and here we have log base of a, and that will be a squared. Now we do understand by the laws of logarithms, we can send this power here to the beginning, right? So you will have log base of a, 3a, that will be 2, and log of a and a. Now we have to understand that log of something to the same thing, that will be just equal to 1. So you will have half, this is obviously divided by 2, half log of a base of 3. Now you can simplify, that will be log of a, 3a power half, and that will be your answer for part 2, question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. So here we have variables x and y are such that y equal to this. Okay, fair enough. Using differentiation, we have to find the approximate change in y as x increases from this to this. So it means that x increases from this, then we add a value of h. Same thing as this, right? So increase by h. That's the main idea. Now, pretty easy. How do you find the approximate change in y? So equal to dy by dx times change. So let's find this one. At the value of x is equal to initial value at minus pi over 4, not root. So we have to find dy by dx at this value. So let's find that. Using differentiation, so what is dy by dx? So let's find out. So dy by dx, so we can have cos x. So this is using the quotient rule. We can solve this. We have a few ways of doing this, obviously, because we also understand when we have sine divided by cos, it is the same thing as tan of x, right? So let's try this way. Why not? Because why not? I want to show you guys, right? Using the quotient rule. So divide. So we have to take this one as it is, multiply by d by dx of this. That will be cos square x. Sorry, not cos square, but cos x. Apologize. And then you have to minus. Then we have to write this one as it is, which is sin x. And then we have to find d by dx of this one. That will become minus sin x. And everything divided by the square of the base. That will be cos square x. Now this will become what? If you think, that will become cos square x. Here we have plus sine square x. And then everything divided by cos square x. Now we can simplify. What is sine square x plus cos square x? It is 1 over cos square x. Here you go. So now we have dy by dx. Now we have to find this value at the initial value of x, which is minus this over this. So let's find out. So here we have to use radians, but you know that pi over 4 is simply 45 degrees. So we have cos of minus 45, right? Square this value. That will be 0.5. So that will be 1 divided by 0.5. That should be 2. Let's check. 1 divided by 0.5, it is 2. Replace back in your main equation. So change in y, or approximate change in y, will be this value, 2 times h. That will be 2h. That will be your answer for question number 4. Let's move on to question number 5. So here we have to solve the inequality. So step by step, as always, when we have these kind of equation with the with these signs, right? We have to solve by using the graphs, not graphs, but we have to solve using the critical values. That's what I meant. So first thing first, we can equate that to 0, to x squared minus 17x equal to 0. Let's first find the critical values. That will be 2x times x. 21 is 3 times 7. So if you have 7 here, if you have 3 here, we have to have minus 17. That will be minus 14 minus 3 to get minus 17. So x will be 3 over 2. X will be 7. Now these are the critical values of x. It is not your answer, right? It is just the values at the borderlines, at the limits. So we have to draw a graph to find the answer. For example, here will be the line of 0. Now because here we have a positive value, we understand the shape of the graph will be a minimum curve. That's the main idea behind this. Now this one obviously will be here, which is 1.5, and this is 7. Now, as you can see, we need the value to be less than 0. So less will be below, right? That will be this part right here. So hence, x will have to be between 1.5 and 7. So these are the values of x for which it is satisfied this equation. So it is good to have this equation. So that will be the values of x. Now equal sign, we have equal here, we have to write equal as well. That will be part A of your question. Now for part B, hence find the area enclosed between the curve and the x-axis. Okay, so pretty easy. So from this we have an understanding that because the area enclosed will be something like this. So here we have the points where it touches your x-axis, so that will be the area enclosed. It is an idea. Like, look, we have to understand this is not the exact shape, obviously, but the idea here is that this will be the enclosed area, and these are the limits we have to find. So that will be, how do you find area enclosed or area under the graph? That will be by integration. So the top limit will be 7. And the lower bound will be 1.5, and the equation of the curve is 2x squared minus 17x plus 21. Now let's find one by one. So integrate this, you will have 2x power 3 divided by 3 minus 17x squared divided by 2 plus 21x. That will be 7, 1.5. So let's simplify. First thing first, we have what? 7 power 3 times 2 divided by 3, that will be this, minus 17 over 2 times 49 plus 21 times 7. So this will be minus 45 over 6, then minus, for this one, 1.5. So 1.5 power 3, this one, times 2 over 3, then minus 17 over 2 times 1.5 squared plus 21 times 1.5. That will be 14.625. Let's find out. That will be minus 45 over 6 minus your answer. That should be this as your answer. So which is minus 55, 11 over 24. Now the reason why the value is negative, as you can see, the area enclosed is below the curve. That's why it will be negative. But we understand area is area. We have no sign with area. There's no need of sign, right, for area. So we can write area would actually be 55, 11 over 24 units square. Or you can write correct to 3SF. That will be 55.5. That will be units square. That will be your question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. The polynomial p is given to you by this equation. Okay, fair enough. Now we have to show that when x equal to this value is a root of this equation. So basically is, when we replace x by this value, we have to show the left hand side is equal to 0. So let's find out. So p, when x equal to minus 0.25, let's see what happens. You will have 36 minus 0.25 power 3 minus 15 minus 0.25 power 2 minus 2 minus 0.25 plus 1. Let's see what happens. So minus 0.25 power 3 times 36, that will be 0.5625 minus 0.25 square times 15, that will be, obviously that will be that will be positive, because when you square something it will be positive value, times 15, that should be 0.937. Anyway, we will have plus 2 times 0.25, that will be 0.5 plus 1. So let's try. Minus 0.5625 minus 0.9375 plus 0.5 plus 1, that should be 0. Indeed, shown it is 0. So by showing that this is true, when x is this, we show this is a root of this equation. That will be shown as required for part 1. Now, we have to understand what is this value. 0.25 is actually 1 over 4, right? Now, if x equal to this is a root, we understand that x, we send this over here, that will become plus 1 over 4 will be is a factor of your polynomial. So we have to understand that as well. Okay, so now let's move on. So for part B, we have to show this has a repeated root. So let's do this by we can choose to do this by factorization. Let's give it a try. Why not? So we have a factor here already. Let's see what can we do. So we have 36 x power 3 minus 15 x power 2 minus 2x plus 1. Now we can do long division, and we can divide by this because we know it is a factor of this equation. That's the reason why. Now, first thing first, to make x become 36x power 3, we first have to multiply by 36 and then multiply by x squared. That will become, then we have to multiply this by this, you will have 36 x power 3, and then we have plus, so what is 1 over 4 times 36? That will be 9, so plus 9x squared. Now we have to simplify. This and this will cancel out, and here we have minus 15 minus 9 should be minus 24 x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now let's move on. So here we have minus 24x. So this can become minus 24x squared. And now here we have 1 over 4 times minus 24. That should be minus 6, so minus 6x. This will cancel out. So minus 2 minus 6 will be 4. So plus 4x plus 1. Now simplify. Let's see what happens. So here we have fx, and here we have 4x. So we have to multiply by plus 4, right, to get 4x. That will be 4x. And this will become plus 1, obviously, and that will become 0. So which means p of x can also be written as what? P of x can also be written as x plus 1 over 4 times 36 x squared minus 24x and plus 4. Now we have to show our equation, or this equation here, equal to 0 has a repeated root. So let's find out. When you equate that to 0, we can see that here we have x is equal to minus 1 over 4. How about this one? We have 36 x squared minus 24 x plus 4. Equate that to 0. Now we can simplify this equation. We can divide by 4 everywhere. You will have what? 36 divided by 4 should be 9, but let's check. It is 9 indeed. So 9 x squared minus 6x plus 1 have to be 0. Now we can simplify. Let's see what happens. So, or factorize. What is 9x squared? It is 3x times 3x. Now 1 is 1 times 1. If you want the value of minus 6, we have to have minus 3 minus 3. So x will be 1 over 3. X will be 1 over 3. So shown as required, here we have the repeated roots as x equal to 1 over 3. Now again, this you could also say the root here, it is x plus 4. So the factor here is x plus 4, but we could also write this as what? As 4x plus 1. It's the same thing as x plus 4. Okay, so this is the same thing as this. If you want to choose this one, same thing as well. As you can see here, here we have this, and the root are the same. So shown as required, they have repeated roots, which is 1 over 3. That is your question number 6. Now let's move on to question number 7. So here we have to sketch the graph of y equal to this, ln of 4x minus 3. On the axis, stating the intercept with the x-axis, okay, and what else? And then we have, that's it for now. So what do you know on the x-axis? So we know that on the x-axis, the value of y have to be 0. Replace back in your equation, that will be 0 is equal to ln of 4x minus 3. Right. Now, from this, we can simplify. That will become exponential 0. That will be 4x minus 3. So that will be 4x. Now, anything power 0 is 1. 1 plus 3 will be 4. X will be the value of 1. So here we can kind of estimate the value here. This should be 1 over here, right? Kind of. This will be 1. So this is where you will meet the x-axis. Now we do understand that for log graphs, log graphs, we have a vertical asymptote. Something we have to know for log graphs. So let's write this down. When we have ln or log, we need to have a vertical asymptote. Now this means that we have a line, we have a vertical line where the curve will never touch. That's what it means. So what is the equation of that line? So pretty easy. We do understand that log, for example ln, it can never take a negative value. That's the main idea behind those curves. So which means the value here inside 4x minus 3 always have to be more than 0, because if you try ln of 0 as well, it is not okay. It has to always be more than 0. That's the main idea behind this vertical asymptote, which means x have to always be more than 3 over 4, which is 0.75. Yeah, you can check, right? 3 divided by 4 will be 0.75. So it means this is the line when x is equal to 3 over 4, it is my vertical asymptote. So let me try to draw this right now. I don't have a ruler. Let me try to use something. Let me use a pen. So for example, let's say this is my point here, 0.75. I can draw the line to show I understand that for long graphs I have a vertical asymptote. Now we can label this as x equal to 3 over 4 to show that you understand exactly what's happening. Now obviously the shape of a long graph is always going to be, at least in this case, it will be approaching this line. As you can see, it will not touch this line. It will just approach but never touch this line. So that's the main idea behind drawing this curve. Okay. Now this will be your question 7, part A. Now for part B, we have to find the equation of the tangent to the curve this at the point of this. So pretty easy. We understand the tangent is a straight line, right? Now to find the equation of a straight line, we have to find the gradient of tangent. But now we know from calculus, the gradient of tangent is the same thing as dy by dx at that specific point where x equal to 2. So we have to find this value. So let's find dy by dx. So here we have y, so dy by dx will be what? That will be 1 over 4x minus 3. Then multiply by d by dx of this value, that should be 4. So you will have 4 over 4x minus 3. Now replace the value of x by 2 here, you will have what? 4 over 4 times 2 is 8, 8 minus 3, so let's try. 8 minus 3 will be 5, so 5 right here. That should be the value of your gradient of tangent. Now to find the equation, obviously we have the gradient, but we also need a passing point. So we have x equal to 2, but what is the corresponding y value? Replace back in your equation right here, you will have ln of 4 times 2, that will be 8 minus 2 will be 5. So the passing point will be 2 and ln 5. So we have the passing point, we have the gradient, we can find the equation. That will be my x value, my y value. So y minus ln of 5 divided by x minus 2 have to be 4 over 5. So now we have to cross multiply, you will have what? 5 y minus 5 ln 5, and that will be 4x minus 8. Now we can send everything to one side. You will have 5y is equal to 4x minus 8 plus 5 ln 5. Again, you can simplify if you want to, up to you guys, or you can make y become the subject, up to you guys. That will be question number 7. Now let's move on to question number 8. So here what do we have? So we have to find the integration of this. Now step by step, let's think, how can we find that? So what is the integration of sine of x with respect to dx? So we know it will be minus cos of x. Same way, what is the integration of sine of 2x? Respect to dx, it will be minus cos of 2x divided by 2. Same way, what is the integration of sine of x over 2 by dx, it will be minus cos of x over 2 divided by half, and that will be minus 2 cos x over 2. So same way here, let's find this. So what we can do here, we can break this down into two parts. That will be integration of sine, that will be phi over 3 plus pi over 3 respect to d phi. That will become minus cos. Now as you can see, the angle is the same, we don't change that. We have to divide by d phi of this one, that will be 1 over 3. So it will become minus 3 cos of phi over 3 plus pi by 3, and of course plus c for the constant of integration. That will be part A of your question. Now for part 2, we have to find this. So first thing first, let's try to factorize the 5 outside. You will have 5, and you have sine square theta plus cos square theta d theta. Now we have to know that this plus this have to be 1. It will be 5 times 1 is just 5 d theta. That will be 5 theta plus c as your answer. Now let's move on to part B. So we have to show the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So step by step, let's first try to simplify this. Let's expand this bracket. You will have 1 plus 1 over x, sorry 2 actually, 2 over x, because 2 times this will be 2 over x, and then plus 1 over x squared. Now we can simplify this. That will be 1 plus 2 over x plus x power minus 2. Now here we have minus 1. Let's bring the minus 1 here. This and this will cancel out, so eventually this whole thing will become 2 over x plus x power minus 2. Replace back in your main equation or main formula. Here we have integration exponential 1. That will become 2 over x plus x power minus 2 with respect to dx. So first thing first, this will become 2 ln of x, because we have to know integration of 1 over x is actually ln of x, the base here. So we have to know that. Now for this one, plus, first we have to increase the power by 1. That will become minus 1, then divide by the same power. This will be 2 ln of x minus 1 over x. Of course, limits here will be exponential and 1. Replace back in the formula to find that value. So first thing first, that will be 2 ln of e minus 1 over e minus, then we have 1, so 2 ln of 1 minus 1 over 1. So simplify, let's see what happens. So here we have what? Ln of e is 1, so that will be 2 minus 1 over exponential minus here. Ln of 1, let's check. Ln of 1 will be 0. 2 times 0 will be 0 as well. 0 minus 1 will be minus 1. So 2 minus minus 1 will be 3 minus 1 over exponential. Simplify, that will become exponential 3 exponential minus 1. And that will be your answer for part B, and that will be your question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. So here we have a function f is defined by all values of x for this one. Now we know we can rewrite this as minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 13. Same thing as f of x, right? Now part 1, we have to find or write f of x in the form of this. We know this is the complete square form. We have to complete the squares for this expression. Pretty easy. First thing first, we do know we have to change that to 1. How? By using factorization. So let's take out minus 2. You will have x squared, or you can say 1x squared, become plus 2x, and we can just leave 13 outside. It is just a constant, we don't really care. Let's leave this outside for now. The next step, because here we have 1, we can proceed to the next step. Here you have x squared plus 2x. Now we have to add a value, add the value here, which is 2, then divide by 2 square. Here we have plus 13. Now when you add something, you also have to minus the same value, 2 over 2 square. Now because it was inside the bracket, we also have to give it the value of minus 2. Now simplify, that will become minus 2, and this will become, this expression here will become a complete square form. That will be x here we have plus, inside we have 1, and here we have square. So this whole thing here becomes this. So we have to know this conversion. Now here we have plus 13 plus 2 times 1. That will be 13 plus 2 will be 15 minus 2, x plus 1, that will be this. So your answer will be a plus b, x plus c square. So in this way you can see a will be 15, b will be minus 2, and c will be plus 1 square. This will be part 1 of your question. Now part 2, hence it means we have to use the answer from part 1 to find the range of f. Now the range is the y values of x, that is the up and down values. So usually how do we find this? We have to think about the graph. What is the shape of the graph? So we can help us to find this. So the idea is that we do understand this is a quadratic equation, which means you will have to have this shape or this shape. Now because the coefficient is negative, it is minus 2, it will have to be this shape. It means we have a, you will have to have this shape, which means we have a maximum curve. That's what it means. Now, we do know that the value at the end, for example, when you express your function in this form, this value right here will be your stationary value, but in this case it will be your maximum value. It will be 15. So maximum value will be 15. Now, this happens when x plus 1 is equal to 0. That will be equate, x will be minus 1. So minus 1, sum over here. So the shape of your graph will be something like this. Now again, this is not exactly the shape. It is only an example or an illustration to help you understand how to find the range. The range of f. According to the diagram, you can see the range of f is what? It is 15 or lower. As you can see, it will be this value. So write down f. You can write range as y or f. So you can write f has to be less or equal to 15 according to the graph. But again, this is the explanation behind, but usually you have to know whenever you express f of x in terms of this value right here or outside will be the stationary value. Now it depends. Sometimes it may be a minimum curve or a maximum curve. So let's say this was positive here, right? It will be this shape. It means that the range will be f more or equal to 15 instead of this one. So it depends on the shape of the graph. That's the only thing you have to be careful about. In this case, you can see it has to be this or less, and this will be your answer. Now for part B, let's move on. The function g is defined for x is more than 1. Again, x is the domain of g. So we have to know whenever your function is defined by something x, it will be the domain of that function. Now g of x is given to you by this one. Now part 1, we know that g inverse of x exists. We have to write down the domain and range of g inverse. So here in this kind of questions, we have to use a trick. The trick is we have to understand domain of g inverse is actually the same as the range of g, and the range of g inverse is the same as domain of g. So to find this one, let's look at this. Domain of g, it is given to us, right? Here you go. Domain of g is x is more or equal to 1, which means the range of g inverse is the same thing. However, to express range, we have to write y or we have to write g. So here is g inverse. Apologize. So we have to write the g inverse have to be more or equal to 1 for the range of g inverse. Now for this one, domain of g inverse is the range of g. So let's use this. What is the range of g? You can see the range of g is only possible when x is more or equal to 1. So let's find the minimum value. It will be when x is equal to 1. That will be g of 1. That will be root of 2. So here you go. So again, the range, you express range that g has to be more or equal to root of 2. But when you write domain, you have to write in terms of x. So you write x more or equal to root of 2. So this will be your answer for part 1. Again, we have to know this thing, or it is best to know this thing to help us find the values of the domain and the range. Now for part 2, We have to show G inverse of x is given to you by this. So step by step, how do you find inverse? So we first let y is equal to G of x, which is this way. X squared plus 2x minus 1. Now we square both sides, you will have y squared is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now, we have to make x become the subject of the formula, but we have a problem here. We have x squared. So it is kind of hard to make this become subject. So in this way, we have to realize we have to actually complete the squares of this one. Here we have 1x squared plus 2x minus 1. Because here we have 1, we can proceed to the next step. That will be x squared plus 2x. We have to add something. That will be 2 over 2 square. Here we have minus 1. When you add something, you have to minus the same value because you want to change the equation. You have x squared plus 2x plus 1 squared. Here you have minus 1, minus 1. So this whole thing here will become x. Here we have plus. Here we have 1. That will be square, and that will be minus 2. So this whole thing will become this in the complete square form. So we can replace and see how can we express x. So x in terms of y. That will become y squared. That will be x plus 1 square minus 2, which means x plus 1 square is equal to y squared plus 2. Then x plus 1 will be plus minus root of y squared plus 2. And finally, x will be minus 1 plus minus y squared plus 2. Now we do see that domain has to be more than root 2. Has to be on the positive side, obviously. So G inverse of x have to be minus 1 plus this value over here. Obviously, you have to change the y to x because it is in terms of x. We have to change that to x. And this is shown as required right here. P and G are integers. P is 1. Q is 2. And that will be your question number 9. Now let's move on to question number 10. So in this question, all the length are in centimeters. So the volume and curved surface area of a cone of the base radius is r. H and sloping edge are given to you by this. So the volume is given to you by this formula, and the curved surface is given to you by this formula. Okay, fair enough, right? No big deal. Now let's see what do we have to find. The diagram shows a cone of radius x. As you can see, the radius is x and the height is y. Fair enough. And the sloping edge is this one by the Pythagoras theorem. Fair enough. Now the volume of the cone is this. So the volume is this. How do you find volume? So volume, as you can see by the question, 1/3 pi r square h. Volume is given to you by 10 pi. This is 1/3. Pi is pi. R square is x square. Height is y, right? Here you go. So right now we can form a formula. This will cancel out with this. So you will have 30 have to be x squared y. So we have our first equation, which we were able to derive from the given information. Now part 1, we have to find an expression for y in terms of x and show that the curved surface area S is given to you by this. So y in terms of x, so y will be 30 over x squared. That is my expression of y in terms of x. Now we have to find the curved surface area. So given by the equation itself, the curved surface area is given to you by this one, pi r. The curved surface area, so again, the curved surface area is the surface area of the curve, not the base. Remember, so just the curve. That will be pi. So S will be pi r is x. L is root of x squared plus y squared. Now we can simplify. Pi is pi, x is x, and here we have x squared, and y squared will be square. Here you will have 30 squared over the value of y power 4. Now we can obviously simplify and see what happens. That will become pi. Here we have x. Here we have root. That will be 900. So again, this is actually plus here, not multiply. Be careful. Plus here. Plus 900 over x power 4. And this will be x squared. Now we have to simplify the value inside, pretty easy, because we have different base. As you can see, we have to find the LCM, cross multiply and cross multiply to simplify this. Here you will have pi, here we have x, obviously, and then here we have, that will be 900 plus x power 6 over the value of x power 4. Now obviously this is inside of the square root. But now we can simplify this, obviously, as you can see here. What is square root of x power 4? It will be x squared, right? So it means that s will have to be this times x, 900, plus x power 6. And as we have seen, this will become x squared. Now finally, this and this will cancel out. So you will have this power 6 over the value of x. That will be s is this shown as required. That is part 1 of your question. Let's move on. Now given that x can vary and s has a minimum value, find the exact value of x for which s has a minimum. As we know, so s will have a minimum at when? At ds by dx, this value. This is when it happens, right? It will be a minimum value. So let's find out. We have seen s has been found to be this value here. The value of x, right? So let's find out how can you find the minimum value of this. So step by step, we have to first differentiate with respect to x. This one. So let's see how can we do this. So as always, step by step, we have to think and see what's possible to differentiate that value. Now it is up to us to actually continue. I guess, yeah, it's easiest to do this one. Let's continue by using the quotient rule. As we may know, ds by dx will be what? So first thing first, we have to write this one as the same as it is. Then multiply d by dx of this value will be what? So pi is only multiple. Same thing. What is this value? We have to understand 900 plus x power 6 is same thing as 900 plus x power 6 power half. That will be half. That will be 900. This minus half times 6x5. Okay, and then we have to minus, and that will be the value on top will be this. Right, and then we have to multiply by d by dx of this one. That should be just 1, and then we can divide by the square of the base. Now again, we have to equate that to 0, because that's what happens when we have a minimum or maximum value. So we can cross multiply. This will cancel out. You have to 0. That will go away. Right, now we can simplify and see what happens. So here you will have 6, that will cancel out with this, that will have be 3, that will be 3 times pi, and that will be x power 6, and this will become root of 900 plus x power 6. Again, this is kind of, it is not tough, it is just, it can be confusing. There's a lot of things to simplify one by one. So x times this, 3 times this, so this will become this. And this we have to send this down, it will become this, step by step. And this will become pi over here, root 900 plus x power 6, equal to 0. Now we can send this over here, you will have what? 3 x power 6 over the value of this, 900 plus x power 6, that will be pi 900 plus x power 6. Now we can simplify. This and this will cancel out, right? And here we can cross multiply. Now, if you realize, let's say this value inside is a. When you have root of a, multiply by root of a, that will give you the value of a, for example, right? So same idea here. You will have 3x power 6, and that will give you 900 plus x power 6. Now we can send this over here. You will have 2x power 6, that will be 900. X power 6 will be 450. Let's check. 900 divided by 2, that will be 450. So finally, value of x will be 450 power 1 over 6. That will be 2.77. Correct to 3SF, that will be your value of x. Again, it asks for the exact value, so the exact value will be this one right here. The exact value of x, for which s has a minimum. As you can see, this will be the answer for the exact value of x. Okay, and that will be your question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 11. So the first three terms of an AP are given to you by this. Fair enough. We have to show the common difference can be written as this. So we do understand that the difference will be the second term minus the first term. That will be cross multiply, you have P minus Q over the value of QP. Okay, this is not good enough. So we can also say the common difference is also the third term minus the second term. So here we have the same base. That will be what? That will be minus 2 over the value of Q. Now we do understand something here. We have an equation. We can kind of equate, because D is equal to D, so we can write P minus Q over 2P. Same thing as minus 2 over Q, because we can see D is D. Now we can simplify. Let's see what happens. Interesting enough. Let's see what can be done. So we can cross multiply, I guess. That's the first logic we can use right now. So that will be, again, we have to simplify for the value of P. So let's see. So here we have PQ minus Q square have to be minus 4P. Kind of strange. Why is this becoming kind of more complex than it needs to be? Interesting enough. So here we have A is the first term, 1 over P. The common difference is usually 1 plus D is this. So 1 over this plus D have to be 1 over Q. That's the main idea. Or we can write 1 over Q plus D have to be minus 1 over Q. So that's the main idea behind, right? I guess that's it. Okay, let me not simplify. Let me try to do this the long way and see what can be done. It seems to be easier this way, because here when I simplify it seems to be harder. Let me try again. That will be 1 over Q minus 1 over P. That will be the value of D for the first equation, equal to minus 1 over Q minus 1 over Q for the second equation. Now we can simplify. Let's see what happens. We can send this over here. So minus 1 over P have to be minus 1 over Q minus 1 over Q, and then here we have minus 1 over Q. Right, that will become minus 3 over Q. Okay, so what else can we do now? So we have to find, so 1 over P will be the value of 3 over Q. Hence Q will be the value of 3 over P. Okay, fair enough. So now we have the value of Q. Now replace back Q right here. So we know that D is equal to minus 2 over Q, but we know Q is equal to 3 over P. That will become what? So let's find out. That will be D is minus 2 over Q is 3 over P. Right. But it still doesn't work out. Very strange. Still work it out. Supposed to be minus 2 over this, and this will go up. Actually, it will not work out. Oh yeah, like, look at this mistake. That's so dumb. So when you send Q here, P will be here. That should be 3 times P. See, this is very silly. So as you can see, obviously this will become this one, minus 2 over 3P. So as you can see, it is also my first time trying out this paper. I always try and see what can be done to find the answer. So as you can see, shown as required, the value of D can also be written as this value. So don't give up, always try to find your answer. Now for part 2, The 10th term of the progression is k over p, where k is a constant. Find the value of k. So we have to find the 10th term. So 10th term is equal to what? So we know it is an AP given to you by the question. The nth term will be given to you as on your list. Let me show you guys. It is on your list of formula right here. So anyways, I know this, but it is given to you. You don't need to worry. It will be a plus the common difference n plus 1. So is it, let me check because I don't want to mess up this one. It is actually n minus 1. Yeah, I was wrong. That should be n minus 1. So t of 10, that should be a. A is the first term, 1 over p, plus common difference is d, which is minus 2 over 3p, times n minus 1, so that will be 9, because 10 minus 1 is 9. Now simplify, that will become what? 1 over p minus 18 over 3p. Now because the base are different, we have to combine them, so obviously you have to multiply by 3 here. You will have 3 over 3p minus 18 over 3p. That will be 3 minus 18 over 3p. So 3 minus 18, that should be minus 15, so that will become minus 15 over 3p. So by comparison, you can see the value of k have to be minus 15. Okay, that will be part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to part B of the question. So the sum to infinity of a GP is 8. So sum to infinity is 8. Now the second term of the GP is this. Second term will be AR is 3 over 2. Because we do know that the n term is given to you by ARn minus 1. So 2, that will be this. Now we have to find the possible values of the common ratio, which is the value of R. So let's find that. So one by one. So what is this equation? We know it is A over 1 minus R have to be 8. Here we have A. Replace A is equal to 3 over 2 divided by R will be this one. Replace, you will have, we can first cross multiply, you will have A is equal to 8 minus 8R. Replace A by this, you will have, so what is, okay, it's fine anyway, so let's replace. You have B 3 over 2R is equal to 8 minus 8R. We can cross multiply, you will have 3 minus equal to that will be 16R minus 16R square. Now rearrange, you will have 16R square minus 16R plus 3, that will be 0. So let's find the value of R. We can factorize. Let's see what can we use to find the value of minus 16. Again, it can be complex for this factorization, so if you guys don't know how to factorize, always revert back to using your formula, right? You can always do that. So let me try one by one. So I can have, let's try 8R and then 2R, and here we can have, if I have 3 here, it won't be good. So let's try again. So 3 is always 1 times 3, right? So if I put 3 here, we have 3 times 2 is 6. 6, that should not be good. If I put 3 here, it will not be good either. So what if I put 4R times 4R? Put 3 here and we put 1 here. So it works out. As you can see, if you put minus here, so minus 1 times minus 4, so times 4 will be minus 4R. And this minus 12, so minus 4 minus 12 will be minus 16. So that is perfect. This is the correct factorization. R will be 1 over 4, R will be 3 over 4. So these will be the two values of R for which we'll have a sum to infinity. Again, if you guys don't know how to factorize, we can always use your formula to solve this equation. It is also given to you on your list as well on how to solve that one. Now let's move on to question number 12. A particle moves in a straight line such that its displacement s from a fixed point O at time t is given to you by this. This is the displacement s. Now part 1, we have to find the displacement of a particle O at the time when it first comes to rest. Now we understand that when it comes to rest, the velocity have to be 0. So let's first find the time when this happened. So what is v? We understand it will be ds by dt. That will become 0 plus 1 minus 2, and this will become minus sine t. That should become 1 plus 2 sine of t. Now we understand that rest, this is equal to 0, so equate that to 0. So sine of t will be minus half. So we understand when sine is negative, it will be what in the, because it's ASTC, it will be in this quadrant or in this quadrant. So it comes 2 times, there's 2 instances, it comes at rest. In the first instance, it will be in this angle, and this will be afterwards. But again, if it is negative here, we will work with a fake angle. Let's call this, this will be in t, that should be pi plus theta is a fake angle, and this will be 2 pi minus theta. So let's write this down. So first thing first, find the value of theta. Again, theta is not the answer. That will be sine inverse of half, which is the positive value right here. That should be that value of what? So that should be pi over 6. Because we do know the sine of, that should be 30 degrees, which is pi by 6. Now from here we can find the value of t. T have to be according to the quadrants, will be pi plus this, pi plus pi by 6, or 2 pi minus pi by 6. That should be what? 7 pi over 6, or that should be 11 pi over 6. That will be the value of t, the values of t. Again, this is when it first comes to rest. That is the first time. That is the second time it comes to rest. So we have the first time. So it comes to rest when t is equal to 7 pi over 6. That's the time we are looking at. Now we want to know, find the displacement when this happens. So find the value of s when t is equal to 7 pi over 6. So s is equal to 2 plus 7 pi over 6 minus 2 cos of 7 pi over 6. So let's find this. Use radians here. 2 plus 7 pi over 6 minus 2 cos 7 pi over 6. That will be 7.40. That will be correct to 3SF. That will be the displacement in terms of meters when it first comes to rest. Now let's move on to part B. So here we have to find the time taken when the particle, the time when the particle next comes to rest. As you can see here, the time when it next comes to rest will be this one. Time will be 11 pi over 6 seconds. Or we can write it, 11 pi divided by 6 will be 5.76 seconds. Otherwise, that will be the time it comes to rest on the second time. Now part C, we have to find the distance travel. Again, distance travel is not the same as displacement by the particle between this one. So let's see. So here we know the first time it comes to rest was t is equal to 7 times pi divided by 6. That will be 3.67. And second time it comes to rest was 5.76. Now time is between t and this one is 3 pi divided by 2. That should be 4.71. So here the only difference is we're not trying to find out how much more it traveled at this moment. We just need to kind of know when between this time how much it travels. So the first one is pretty easy. As you can see, from 0 till the time t is equal to 3.67, the distance traveled was, we found this in part 1, was given to you, was found to be 7.40. Now we understand from this point on, it traveled in the way back. Now we have to find out what is the distance traveled when time, what is the displacement when time is equal to 4.71. So let's find that. So S when t is equal to 4.71. So 3 pi over 2 is this. So this is your answer. So you have to find displacement. That will be 2 plus answer minus 2 cos of answer. That will be 6.712. Okay, so basically at this value here, the distance traveled was 6.712, which means, okay, so this again, I'm trying to avoid using distance travel because this is the formula for displacement. So the displacement from O is 6.712. So it means the distance traveled when it changed the direction will be this one. It will be the difference between 7.40 minus 6.712. That will be 0.687. So let me clarify this. When you first start from 0, you're going in this direction, for example. Now we know that at this time equal to 3.67, the displacement or the distance traveled here was 7.40. So here that's the first thing we need to add. However, after this you change direction, as you can see by the question when it becomes at rest. Now from this point you travel in this direction, and then this is the time at t equal to 3 pi by 2, because the question is asking you to find this between this domain. So you stop right here. So you know at this point the displacement is the distance from O is the value of 6.712, which means from this point you travel to this point, this distance here will be the difference, and that was 0.687. Hence the distance traveled is the first time you go in this direction, that will be 7.40, and then plus this difference right here, which is 0.687. That will be 0.687. That should be 8.09 meters. Again, there's a big difference between distance travel and displacement. So that's the main difference behind this question we have to understand to solve this question. And that will be your question number 12, and that is your last question of this paper.